Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna combined there, and Mahaprabhu is also. This is one of the places where Krishna decided he had to come as Mahaprabhu. Right? Imlitala, he appeared as Mahaprabhu, but here he decided he has to come as Mahaprabhu. So anyway, there's so many kathas with here.
Namo Vishnu Vaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Gaura Govinda Swami Niti Namne Vandeham Sri Guru Varam Rupanuga Pravaram Rajarasarsikam Cha Nayanam Tampapannam Namasrestam Manamapi Satriputram Atrasvarupam Rupam Tasragaja Muripurim Maturim Gostavatyam Radha Kundam Girivanaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Patita Kripaya Sri Gurum Tam Tosmi. I offer pranam to Sri Guru, by whose abundant mercy I've obtained the topmost name of Sri Hari, the Diksha mantras, the service of Sri Sachinandan Gauda Hari, Sri Sarup Damodar, Sri Rupa Goswami, his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the vast abode of Sri Mathura, Braj, Radhakund and Govardhan, as well as the desire for the loving service of Sri Sri Radha Madhava. I also offer my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavis here today. Millions of pranams in the lotus feet of my beloved Guru Parapadma, Vishnupad Sri Srila Gaura Govinda Swami Gurudev, and my beloved Shiksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and my beloved shelter and Sri Prema Prabhu. So this place is very, very special. For many years I was in Bhubaneswar hearing hari-katha, this katha that Srila Gokula Prabhu spoke was incredibly special. And what I'm going to try to speak here today is the topmost thing. Guru Maharaj said we should be like, I'm not at all qualified to speak these things, but we should be like a pipe, and sometimes the force on the pipe is a little bit hard, especially when you're restricted like me. If you listen to the lectures of Vishnupad Sri Srila Gokula Maharaj, you'll see that many lectures were very long, like 2.5 hours. And the first hour, Guru Maharaj was beating us and crushing us. You're dogs and hogs and pigs, and you're not qualified to hear these things. And then, at some point during the lecture, this black bumblebee would come into the temple room. And then we would be in Prem sarovara. So this katha is it's really the essence of everything that we do. I was thinking, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, in the last parikrams before he left, he was asking every night in parikram, why has Mahaprabhu come? Why has Mahaprabhu come? Every night he was asking one sannyasi to speak, you remember? And at the end of that period, when we were in Gopinath Bhavan, Gurudev spoke. And for me, it was like there's this thread in my mind, because I was in Bhubaneswar and I'd never been to Braj, I'd never been to these places. So when my Guru Maharaj left, I came to Gurudev, and then Gurudev brought us here on the first parikram. And we were there in Bhashana. And the morning we came here, Srila Trivikram Maharaj was speaking. And Gurudev, they were sitting on a bed, it was like 100 people there, and just a wooden bed. Gurudev was sitting one end, and Srila Trivikram Maharaj was sitting at the other end. Srila Trivikram Maharaj was saying, we need to merge into the Supreme Lord. We need to become one with Him. Speaking like so, and Gurudev was like looking at him, just so angry. And more, sort of Trikara Maharaj was making Gurudev angry. He was speaking more like Mayavad, more like Mayavad. And then at the end he said, Nasa Ramana Saharamani. When the mind of the lover and the beloved become one, this is the ultimate merging. And this is the essence of what we have learned, that I've heard. And then Gurudev was like, oh yeah, okay, I get where you're going now. And so what Srila Trivakra Maharaj is doing is he's pushing Gurudev up to this level, to the lake. We think there's nothing higher than that. And then Srila Gurudev reached over and took the microphone and he goes, some people say that separation is highest. But we are here, we are in Braj, we're in Bharshana, we're in Prem Sarovara. And we have just been to Radha Kund and Govardhan, and these are all the pastime studies of union. So Gaudiya Vaishnavas don't want that Radha and Krishna should be separated. In Bhakti, there's two embankments. Bhakti flows in a river. On one side is union, and the other side is separation. So these things are very, very important to understand. I was thinking, like, to try and to have the gall, or to have the temerity to speak these high things when I'm so fallen. I just remember Guru Maharaj, like, Guru Maharaj just put these things inside me. And he said, if this topic comes, you have to speak. So somehow we came here today. So I have to speak this thing, because it's there inside me. So, this bhajan we just sang, so everything is perfect actually. Rasik is selecting actually the perfect bhajan, because this is the mood that we do our bhajan in. We do the mood of bhajan in separation. So Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri. This is Viyogini Radha, right? In separation mode. And what I'm speaking here is actually Samyogini Radha. This is Roy Ramananda Samvad. You know the 8th chapter of Madhya Lila in Chaitanya Charitamrita? When Roy Ramananda was speaking, it comes to the very highest point. Mahaprabhu was asking Roy Ramananda, Age koro, go higher, go higher, go higher. So, how to bring it all together? It's just wondrous. So in this pastime stali, Radha Krishna Pranaya Brikati Ladini Shakti Rasmat Ekatmanava Bhuvi Para Deha Vedam Gototo Chaitanya Akata Maduna Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhavaduiti Sivilitam Nomni Krishna Srupam. Who is Mahaprabhu? He is Radha Krishna Pranaya Prakriti Ladini Shakti Rasmat. I'm sorry, this is a little technical. I think if you read these verses, this is the introduction verses to Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is our understanding at a very, very deep level of who is Mahaprabhu. So I've got some notes actually. I've just in Prem. This is Prem Sarovara. Prem has many levels. That's going too far. So, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, I'm trying to find. What are the levels? I want to get it. No, you have to.
Mohan, Madan,
Modanakya, Madanakya, Mahabhav. Yes. So you see so many expert Vaishnavas here. So they're going from Mahabhav up. But this word is here. It's rag, anurag, bhav. No, pranaya is in there. Snare? Yes. So the unique quality of this pranaya vrikkati, this is a transformation of pranaya, of a special type of love. At the point of pranaya, the mind of the lover and the beloved become one. They become merged. And where does that happen? That happens here. So when we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Brahmar Gita, Radhika is sitting on Krishna's lap in this place. And all the sakhas, not all the sakhas, but Madhu Mangal's there. All the Priyanama sakhas are there. The most dear sakhas are there. And Krishna is embracing Radharani. And just that time, a black bumblebee comes in and sees Radhika's lotus feet, and he thinks it's a lotus, so he goes to her feet and she goes, Jahi, Jahi, Madhusudan, go away, nasty bumblebee. And then as she puts her hand up, the bumblebee sees her lotus hand and comes back and tries to take the nectar from her hand and then drives it away. And again the bumblebee comes and sees her lotus face and starting to really annoy her. So Madhu Mangal comes with a stick and starts to drive away the bumblebee from Radhika. And then Madhu Mangal comes back and says, Madhusudan Jahi, I've driven the bumblebee away. And Radhika at that point, she's in sneha, affection, being embraced. And then her mood, because she thinks, oh, Madhusudan is obviously also a name for Krishna. So in her mind she's thinking, oh, Krishna has left me. But she's in his embrace. So this is like, they say ekabhuti bhav, like their bodies become wrapped in each other, and Krishna's looking at Radhika and she's crying, weeping, her tears are filling the kundya in separation from Krishna. And Krishna's looking at that and saying, my memory, Kayadbhuta, Madhurima, Veti Lobat, what's the verse? I've got it.
CC verse.
Yeah. It's up here. Sri Radha Pranayi Mahima Kitusham Vanaiva Swarayami Yanadbhuta Madhurima Kitusham Vadmadiya Sokyam Chasyu Anabhavata Kidrisham Veti Lobat. So this is, Guru Maharaj was making this point, this is very, very important. That why Mahaprabhu came? Because he wanted to understand the glories, the mahima of Srimati Radhika's love, the sweetness that she tastes, and the happiness that she feels in that love. When does he feel that greed? When does that Veti Lobat come? It's here, because he's seeing her love and he just can't understand it. It's beyond his comprehension that she can be sitting on his lap and barely feeling. And this is the point where she goes to pranaya and up to the highest point of Madanakya Mahabhav. This is Chitra Jalpa, I think I've got it all written down here somewhere. Rudha,
Adiruddha, Chitra Jalpa.
Yes. The essence of bhakti is the service of Radhika to Krishna, and it encompasses the highest stages of prem, sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav, rudha, adiruddha, modan, and then madanakya mahabhav. So this is the place of madanakya mahabhav. The highest mood of loving service to Krishna is present in all of the gopis. It is partly in Dwarkapuri, in the queens of Dwarka like Satyabhama and Rukmini. However, the higher stages of Mahabhav, like Adiruddha, are not found in anyone except the gopis. Mohan, feelings of separation of the beloved in Mahabhav, may all be slightly present in Chandravali and others like her, but the highest development of Mohan is only in Srimati Radhika. In Mohan, there is also Chitrajalpa and other ecstatic symptoms in the mood of separation. And this may be present in Lalita or Vishaka to some extent. But Madanakya Mahabhav is found only in Radhika at the time of meeting. This is Gurudev's writing. It may be that when Krishna and Radhika are sitting and speaking together, Radhika is thinking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? She begins to lament and ask, where? This is Madanakya Bhav. This is not found in anyone else but Srimati Radhika. Bhakti covers all stages up to this point. Chitrajalpa is variegated speech. It is an ecstatic symptom appearing in Mohan Mahabhav. In Ujjwala Nilamani, it states as follows. It is virtually only when Srimati Radharani that the ecstasy of that bewilderment arises. She has attained a special stage of this bewilderment, a wonderful state that resembles delusion and is known as Divyon Mad. It has many aspects which come and go unsteadily, and one of these manifestations is Chitrajalpa. So we hear about these Stahi Bhavs and these various waves of emotion that sweep through Radhika's at this time. So the study of Chaitanya Charitamrita is the study of Srimati Radhika's love. To understand Mahaprabhu, you must understand why Krishna came as Mahaprabhu, to taste, to understand these things. This is all from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And only, I would say only in our Sangha, I was going to say, like, when I was in Bali, Guru Maharaj was saying, Gurudev was there, I was in the room with Ashram Maharaj, and we were talking about how they were stopping Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj from speaking. Oh, I remember. One sannyasi we invited to the program had said, this is what Ashram Maharaj said to Gurudev, he said, Gurudev, such and such a sannyasi is saying that you are speaking too high. And Gurudev said, if he is saying this, then he has not read the books of Rupa and Raghunath. And if he has done so, he has not done so in any good association. He said, only your Guru Maharaj and myself are speaking these things, and now your Guru Maharaj has left. And if I don't speak this, it will leave this planet. So these understandings of who is Mahaprabhu, to go deeply into this in places like this, we're so fortunate to be here. Srimati Radhika, she has attained a special stage of bewilderment, Divyan Mad. It has many aspects and will come and go. Induced by Srimati Radhika seeing her beloved's friend, she is filled with covered anger and comprises many different jalpa, has 10 divisions. Prajalpa, Parijalpa, Vijalpa, Ujjalpa, Sanjalpa, Avajalpa, Abhijalpa, Ajalpa, Pratijalpa, and Sujalpa. So these various raving speeches, as Guru Maharaj used to call them, she was babbling, Krishna, Krishna, come back, sitting on his lap, and Krishna's looking at her, thinking, what is it in her? What is the glory of that love? How can I taste that? How can I taste that sweetness of her love? It's not in me. So, this is where it's nice, like, in the morning we're singing this Chora Gaganya Astakam. So my Guru Maharaj used to say, so Krishna is a great thief. So he was thinking how to steal this love from the heart of Srimati Radhika. But Gurudev says, Krishna's not that intelligent. He said, if he stole it, Radharani let him. So seeing this, Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhi Vrindavanishwari. Oh, these beautiful verses. I just remembering these verses from. Yes, these verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So seeing this, Chaitanya Charitamrita speaks like this. Acharya Jatiya Sukha Paiti Mana Dai Jatne Aswaditi Nari Ki Kari Upai. My mind races to taste the pleasure experienced by the abode. This is Asraya Vishaya. So Mahaprabhu had to take the position of Ashraya because he's Vishaya, he's the enjoyer, not the enjoyed. It's a very special distinction. He had to take the role of a devotee in order to taste this love. He had to change his category. So he's saying, Asraya Jatiya, I have to take the Asraya, not the Vishaya. I have to take shelter of her or take her mood. My mind races to taste the pleasure experienced by the abode, but I cannot taste it even by my best efforts. How may I taste it? Kabu jadi e premera hoye ashray, tabi e premanandera anubhava hoy. If sometime I can be the abode of that love, only may then I can taste this joy. E chinta rahi kancha parama kautike, hridaya Vitya, what's it inside? I've got the wrong Sanskrit here. What's it inside? Hridaya.
Where are we?
Bitare. Inside. Yeah. Hridaya Bitare, Prema Loba Daki. Thinking in this way, Lord Krishna was curious to taste that love. His eager desire for that love increased and blazed in his heart. My Guru Maharaj writes, to use these words is very, very appropriate. I don't know if you can relish unless you can know this language. My Guru Maharaj said, in order to understand and relish this Amrita, this Chaitanya Charitamrita, this nectar of Chaitanya Charit, we should all learn Bengali. Otherwise there is no relishment in the way it is written. Krishna thinks, I have to become the Astray of this Radha Prem, then I can relish it. Otherwise there is no possibility. E chinti rahe kancha parama kautiki. With such a very deep, intense thought, Krishna was thinking, Hridaya Bitare Prema Loba Daki. The word lob here is greed. Greed for that Radha Prem. Very intense greed, which cannot be suppressed. In the heart, there is a throbbing. Duck, 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 duck. I don't know, like, I'm being maybe like, but yesterday after Rasik Mohan's Kirtan, my heart was going, duck, duck, duck. You know, like throbbing, your heart is going to beat out of your chest. So Krishna's throbbing like this. How can I taste? While preparing sweet rice, you will notice when it becomes very thick and it's sticking to the bottom of the pot, it makes this sound like duck, duck. Krishna's heart is like this, boiling, boiling, boiling. It is very intense greed. That word is used there, and we must understand this language. So with that greed, now come to the bank of the Godavari. Roy Ramananda is speaking to Mahaprabhu, and right at the end of verse 193, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 193, he says, Yeva Prema Vilas Virata. Again, it's this Pranaya Vrikati, this Prema Vilas Virata. It's the transformation. This is when the love of Radhika becomes at a stage where this is how Krishna entered Radhika's heart to get this love. Je prema bilasi bibata eka hoy, ta suni tomara sukha hoy, ki na hoy. Roy Ramananda then informed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that there was another topic known as Prema Vilas Vivata. You may hear of this from me, Roy Ramananda said, but I do not know whether you will be happy with it or not. Eta bali apanakrita gita eka gahila, prema prabhu swahaste tane mukha achidila. Saying this, Roy Ramananda began to sing a song he had composed, but Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita out of the ecstasy of love of Godhead, immediately covered Roy Ramananda's mouth with his own hand. Do you know how to sing that? No.
Mahaprabhu, as he started singing the song, Mahaprabhu covered his mouth. I don't know the melody for this.
You don't know the melody? I've heard it sung. It's very beautiful.
Pehili hi raga nayana bhangi bhelo anudina bhadala avadina ghelo na soramana na hamaramani duhu mana manobhava pe shalajhani eshaki she shava prema kahani kanuta me kahavi vichura lajhani na konjalu duti na konjalu an duhu keri milane madhya tapan chabhana abshohi viraga tuhu bheli duti supuruka prema ki ai chanariti.
So Roy Ramananda is singing this song and it says, alas, alas, before we met there was an initial attachment between us brought about by an exchange of glances. In this way, attachment evolved. That attachment has gradually grown and there is no limit to it. Now that attachment has become a natural sequence between ourselves, it is not that it is due to Krishna the enjoyer, nor is it due to me, for I am the enjoyed. It is not like that. This attachment was made possible by mutual meeting. This mutual exchange of attraction is known as manobhav. So in this verse, it's saying, Nasa Ramana. I don't know if I'm the lover or Nahama Ramani, or am I the beloved? I've become bewildered. Our mind, it says, Duhu Mana, our two minds, manobhav, because of this bhavana mind, Peshala Jani. They've been like in separation. This is what separation does. This is what this separation in union drives Radhika to this point. This is what Roy Ramananda was explaining, that like when a son has gone to war, and you can experience this with your own Gurudev. Sometimes, right? You've just experienced. You can be with your Gurudev for many years, serving, and somehow you're hearing every day and taking it for granted. But then if you're drawn away and made to stay away for many years, only you will think. And the mind will become very, very close. Like a mother has lost her son in the war. Guru Maharaj gives this example. So the mind will become Peshala Jani, like one. This is Radha Krishna Pranaya Vrikati. This is the pranaya. This is the point where the lover and the beloved's mind become one. So the next verse is an incredible verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says, Radhaya Bhavatas Chachita Jatuni Swede Valapya Kramyad Jujan Adi Nikunja Kujara Pate Nirduta Veda Brahman Chitraya Swayam Anvarajayad Iha Brahmanda Ham Yo Dhare Bhuyabhir Navaraga Hingula Bara Sringara Karu Kriti. O my Lord, you live in the forest of Govardhan Hill, and like the king of elephants, you are expert in the art of conjugal love. O Master of the universe, your heart and Srimati Radharani's heart are just like shellac. It's like a wax. You know that red wax that they put on stamp a seal? So Radhika's heart is covered in this shellac. And they are now melted in your spiritual perspiration. Where's that sweder? Chitta Jatuni sweder vilapya brahmya. So the sweat is falling on this wax. It's like almost trippy, wouldn't you say? Like if you read this, who could possibly understand the code that is in here, that Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj has given us? Therefore, one can no longer distinguish between you and Srimati Radharani. Now you have mixed your newly invoked affection, which is like vermilion, with your melted hearts, and for the benefit of the whole world, you have painted both of your hearts red within the great palace of this universe. Hari Bol!
Prem.
So then, Guru Maharaj, this is not finished yet. The best bit's coming.
Okay, boda, boda, boda.
So, Krishna has Radhika sitting on her lap. Her heart is boiling. Dak, dak, daki. His heart is boiling to taste that love. She is Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari. She is this mood, this Radha Bhavi Duitis Vilitam Nomni Krishna Swarupam. Her Radha Krishna Bhav, her duty, not only her bhav, but her duty. What is her duty? Her duty is Tapta Kanchan, is molten gold. Why is it molten gold? Because her heart is boiling with gold. And Krishna has gone in there, and from the heat of that heart into her heart, the sweat is coming off his forehead and melting the wax that surrounds her heart. And he enters into her heart and bathes himself in her bhav. And then he comes out from her heart. Anta Krishna Bahir Go. That is our Mahaprabhu.
Finish.
Nothing more. Off the top. Jai Prem Sarovara ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Shishila Gaura Govinda Swami Gurudev ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahans Pariraj Gachar Stodhara Sata Shishila Bhakti Vedanta Naran Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Shripad Premananda Prabhu ki Jai. Nanda Gauri Vaishnavindi ki Jai. Samagata Bhakta Vind ki Jai. Sri Gaura Premanandi.
Jai. Thank you, Gokula Prabhu. Without coming, it's described that we come to the holy places, but really we come to immerse ourselves in the glories of these places. And the glories of these places cannot be understood without the Vaishnavas, without our Guru Varga, so we're so fortunate. We're going to go to Pavan Sarovar now. Okay. We'll have lunch there at Pavan Sarovar.